Are you doing God things or good things? Now, as someone who really enjoys giving to others and serving others and helping and support, it is easy to get caught up in doing good things rather than God things. And I want to share with you today a example of a time or a season of my life when I actually got to the point where I resented a God thing because I was so focused on doing good things. Now, one of my spiritual gifts is teaching. Like, it's gotten to the point where strangers will literally look at me and be like, "Are you a teacher?" And even though I am not a teacher in the physical sense, like going into a classroom and teaching, I am a spiritual teacher, right? And there was a season of my life when God wanted to like groom that spiritual gift within me, and He had actually allowed me to teach Sunday school. And it so happened that in that season of my life, I was also pretty busy in ministry. I was attending school full time. I was working part time. I was volunteering as an English language teacher at my school, my church's even school. I was also leading the praise and worship team. I was teaching Sunday school, and I was on the choir. And so on a typical Sunday morning, I would literally be at church from 10 o'clock in the morning so that I could actually teach Sunday school and then run to go do praise and worship. And if it was a Sunday that I was singing, I would also be have to run to be on the choir for the full day. And then because I was also on the youth ministerial board, sometimes we'll have meetings afterwards. And if it was a youth congress season, not only that, because I was also the editor for the Youth Congress magazine, it would be meetings and support to get that all coordinated. And eventually, because it was so much happening, I was so focused on doing good things, I started to resent the God thing that I was meant to do, which was to actually teach teenagers, right? And years later, I remember I eventually stopped. I literally got to the point where I was so exhausted that I stopped doing it all. I cut it all off, right? Because I was so resentful of the fact that I felt like I had to show up and do these things. When the fact is, if I had honored my no when I was asked to do these things and I'd actually taken a step back to recognize a good thing versus a God thing, I would have gone through a season of my life when God was doing something within me with so much joy. And so today, my question for you, my pink flamingo friend, is: do you know the good thing versus the God thing? Are you able to differentiate between doing a good thing and helping somebody because it's a good thing to do versus doing a God thing? We as stewards of the resources that God has given us, including our time, including our skills, including our giftings, a big part of stewardship is learning to recognize a God thing. When God says, yes, you can go ahead and do this. When God says, yes, I have ordained you for this season, and this is a thing that you are meant to do in this season, rather than you just going along and doing things because it's good. And it will actually make other people like you more. And it will make you feel good about yourself because you're showing up for others. Do not miss the opportunity to have joy in a season because you have opted to do good things over God things. Do not miss the opportunity to grow in your gifting and in your calling because you have filled your calendar with good things over God things. Today, my prayer for you, my pink flamingo friend, is that God teaches you how to recognize good things versus God things. And not only that God allows you to assess your life today and be able to differentiate between the good things that you need to be saying no to and the God things that you need to be saying yes to. Recognize the good things. Say no when needed. Recognize the God things and say yes to those, because those are the things that will not only honor you, but also honor the people that you are called to serve. And not only that, they are the things that will actually prepare you now for the things that God has for you and others in the future. Say yes to the God things. Say no to the good things that are not for you or for others in this season.